Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that can feel really dense, but it's absolutely vital for millions of federal workers. Federal workers' compensation.
Yeah, it's complex stuff. We're aiming to cut through the jargon of FECA, that's the Federal Employees Compensation Act, and the OWCP, the Office of Workers' Compensation Programs.
Exactly. Think of this as your essential roadmap.
It really is fundamental knowledge. If you're a civilian, federal employee, VA, Postal Service, TSA, you name it, this affects you. And the big thing right off the bat, FECA is a no-fault system.
No fault, meaning
Meaning if you get hurt doing your job, it doesn't matter whose fault it was. The system is set up to provide medical care, cover lost wages, and other key benefits. It's about getting you covered.
Okay, so we've boiled down the key issues into the questions people stumble over most often. And we're starting with maybe the most critical choice you make immediately after an injury. Which form do you file?
Get this wrong, and yet you could lose out on immediate pay. It really sets the tone for the whole claim.
So the two main forms.
CA1 and CA2.
CA1, that's for a traumatic injury, right? Like a specific event.
Exactly. Think single event, single shift. You fall off a ladder, something drops on your foot. A specific incident you can point to, that's a CA1.
And CA2.
That's for occupational disease or illness. This is for conditions that develop over more than one work shift. Things that build up.
Like repetitive strain, carpal tunnel.
Precisely. Or maybe long-term exposure to something harmful like noise or chemicals. If it happened over time, it's likely a CA2.
Okay, and why is this distinction so incredibly important right at the start? It links to COP, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Continuation of pay, or COP. This is a huge benefit. It means you get your full, regular pay, 100% for up to 45 calendar days if you're disabled right after a traumatic injury.
Full pay, okay.
Yeah, paid just like your normal paycheck, taxes, and all taken out.
Yeah.
But here's the catch. COP is only for CA1 traumatic injury claims.
So if you file a CA2 for that carpal tunnel.
No COP. You don't get that immediate wage replacement benefit.
And there's a deadline attached to this CA1 benefit, too, a really tight one.
You bet. You must file the CA1 within 30 days of the traumatic injury itself to get COP. 30 days.
Miss that deadline, and what happens? Straight away.
You lose the COP completely. You're immediately looking at using your own sick leave, annual leave, or worse, leave without pay LWOP.
Wow. So you could be without income while waiting for the main claim to process.
Exactly. You'd have to wait until OWCP processes and approves your claim for regular wage loss compensation, which, could take weeks, sometimes months. That 30-day COP rule is designed to bridge that gap. It's probably the most critical initial deadline.
And just to be clear, who actually pays COP? Is it OWCP?
No, that's another key point. COP is paid by your employing agency, not the main OWCP compensation fund.
Okay, so the agency itself is footing that bill for those 45 days.
Right, which helps explain why they're so strict about that 30-day reporting window for the CA1. They need to manage that immediate payroll cost.
Then after the 45 days run out, or if it was a CA2 claim from the start.
That's when the regular OWCP wage loss compensation potentially kicks in.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. What about the overall time limit? Say it's not a sudden injury, or maybe it takes time to realize it's work-related. Is there statute of limitations?
Yes, the general rule is 3 years. 3 years from the date of the injury.
And for those occupational illnesses, when does that clock start?
For occupational illnesses, it's typically 3 years from when you first became aware of the condition and it's linked to your job, or the last date you were exposed to the thing that caused it, whichever date is later.
But I remember reading about an important exception, something about the agency knowing.
Ah, yes, that's a big one. Even if 3 years have passed, your claim might still be considered timely if you can show that your supervisor or someone else in management at the agency had actual knowledge of the injury within 30 days of when it happened.
So if it was reported, even informally, or documented somehow right at the start.
Exactly. If there's proof the agency knew about it early on, even if the official forms weren't filed right away, that actual knowledge within 30 days can overcome the 3-year statute of limitations. It shows they were on notice.
Good to know. Let's talk doctors. Do I get to pick my own doctor if I get hurt?
Absolutely. That's your right. You have the initial choice of any qualified physician, clinic, hospital. Your boss can't tell you who you have to see. They might suggest places, but the choice is yours.
That's a critical protection. But what if I start with one doctor and then want to change? Say, I move, or I'm not happy with the treatment.
Okay, that's where it gets a bit more complicated. Once you've chosen your initial doctor and started treatment, if you want to change your primary treating physician, You generally need to get prior approval from OWCP.
How do you do that?
You have to write to OWCP, explain why you need to change doctors. They have to approve it first.
Is there any exception? What about specialists?
Yes, there is. If your current approved treating doctor refers you directly to a specialist like, say, an orthopedic surgeon or a physical therapist for the accepted condition, that kind of referral does not need OWCP pre-approval.
Okay, that makes sense. Referral's okay, but switching the main doctor needs permission. Now, here's something that trips people up all the time. My old injury flares up months later. Is that a recurrence, or do I file a whole new claim? What's the deal with the CA2A form?
The recurrence versus new injury dilemma. Super common, and getting it wrong leads to denials. A recurrence, which you file on Form CA2A, is when your original accepted condition gets worse or comes back without a new specific injury or work exposure causing it.
So it just flares up on its own?
Pretty much. Maybe you're just doing normal activities or even resting, and the old symptoms return. That uses your original claim number, filed under a CA2A.
Okay, but let's say I hurt my back lifting 6 months ago. I recovered. Now, yesterday, I lifted another heavy box at work, felt that same twinge, and the pain is back. Same spot, same pain. Is that a recurrence?
No, that sounds like a new claim.
Even though it's the same body part, why?
Because there was a new work event or factor lifting that specific heavy box yesterday. That new event is considered the cause. So you need to file a new CA1 since lifting the box was a specific event.
So the cause is the key. A new work action means a new claim.
Exactly. If you file a CA2A recurrence form when there was clearly a new work incident involved, the claims examiner will likely deny it. They'll say the new incident broke the causal chain from the original injury, and you need to file a fresh claim linked to that new event. They need that specific cause.
Got it. Okay, let's talk benefits. Once COP runs out, or if you weren't eligible, what does OWCP provide? Medical first.
The medical coverage is actually incredibly comprehensive. It's 100% coverage for all reasonable and necessary medical treatment for the accepted work injury.
100%. No deductibles, no copays.
Correct. No out-of-pocket costs for the approved care, and there are no arbitrary time limits or dollar caps on the needed treatment for the accepted condition.
Wow, that's significant. What about lost wages?
After COP, or if you filed a CA2, the wage loss compensation from OWCP is paid usually every 2 weeks, and importantly, it's tax-free.
Tax-free, okay. How much is it?
The standard rate is 66 2/3%, 66.67% of your regular pay rate at the time of injury. However, if you have one or more qualifying dependents, spouse, kids, etc., that rate goes up to 75% of your pay.
And being tax-free makes a big difference to the actual take-home amount,
A
right?
huge difference. 75% tax-free can often be very close to your regular net pay.
What if the injury is so severe you just can't go back to your old job?
That's where vocational rehabilitation comes in. If you can't return to your usual job, OWCP offers services like counseling, job training, help with placement, basically, assistance to find suitable employment, either a modified role with your agency or potentially a new career path.
Okay. Now let's talk about something called the schedule award. This seems to confuse people because it's separate from the regular wage loss payments.
Right. A schedule award is different. It's a specific lump sum payment, or it can be paid out over time for permanent impairment, meaning the permanent loss or loss of use of certain body parts listed in the law.
Like what kind of parts?
Think arms, legs, hands, feet, fingers, toes, vision, hearing. There's a specific list, a schedule, in the FECA regulations.
And how do you qualify? Is it automatic if you lose function?
No, there are specific requirements. First, your condition needs to reach maximum medical improvement, or MMI.
MMI means?
It means your medical condition has stabilized. It's not expected to get significantly better, but it's also not necessarily getting worse. It's reached a plateau.
And then what?
Then your doctor needs to evaluate the level of permanent impairment you have to that specific body part or function and quantify it as a percentage loss. And this is critical. They must use the American Medical Association's guides to the evaluation of permanent impairment, 6th edition.
Only the 6th edition. Using the 5th or something else won't work.
Absolutely not. If the impairment rating isn't based specifically on the AMA guides, 6th edition, OWCP will reject the schedule award claim. It's incredibly specific, non-negotiable.
Wow. Okay, now the big question about schedule awards. The sources say they don't cover back or spine injuries. That seems counterintuitive given how common back injuries are. Why is the spine excluded?
It's a quirk of how the law was historically written. Schedule awards were designed primarily for, discrete limbs or functions that could be easily listed and assigned a value. The back and spine are generally considered part of the whole person, and impairments there are typically compensated through ongoing wage loss benefits if they affect your ability to earn, rather than through this separate lump sum schedule award system.
So even a permanent severe back injury doesn't get a schedule award payment itself.
Correct. The effects of the back injury on your earning capacity are compensated through wage loss, but the spine itself isn't on that specific list for a lump sum impairment award. It feels like a gap to many people, but that's the current structure.
Okay, let's pivot to the worst case scenario. Your claim gets denied. What are your options? What are the appeal routes?
If OWCP denies your claim, you generally have three main appeal options, and each has a very strict deadline. You need to act fast.
Option 1?
First is requesting either a hearing or a review of the written record from the OWCP branch of Hearings and Review. You must request this within 30 days of the date on the denial letter.
30 days, that's quick. What's the difference between a hearing and a review?
A hearing lets you or your representative actually talk to an OWCP hearing representative, present arguments, maybe even testify. A review of the written record is just what it sounds like. They re-examine the paper file without live testimony. Both allow new evidence.
Okay, 30 days for that. What's the second option?
Second is reconsideration by the district office that issued the denial. You have much longer for this one year from the date of the decision.
A whole year. That sounds better, but is there a catch?
Yes. Big catch. For reconsideration, you must submit new evidence or a new legal argument that wasn't already considered. You can't just ask them to look at the same file again and hope for a different outcome. You need something new, a better medical report, a witness statement, a legal brief. Without new substance, it'll likely be denied again.
Right. New information is key for reconsideration. And the third, final appeal level.
That's taking your case to the Employees Compensation Appeals Board, or ECAB. The deadline here is 180 days from the OWCP decision.
And what does ECAB do? Do they look at new evidence?
No, and this is vital. ECAB performs a legal review only. They look at the case file as it existed when OWCP made its decision. They check for errors in law, procedure, or maybe misinterpretations of the facts already in the record. They absolutely do not consider new evidence.
So if your problem was a lack of evidence, ECK isn't the place to fix it.
Exactly. If you need to submit more medical proof, you'd typically go the reconsideration route first, within that one-year window. ECKB is for arguing OWCP made a mistake based on what they already had.
This brings us right to the core issue, really. Looking across all the reasons claims fail, what's the absolute #1 reason for denial?
It's overwhelmingly the lack of sufficient medical evidence that clearly links the diagnosed condition to the claimed work duties or injury event. Causation.
Causation is king.
Absolutely. It sounds simple, but the standard is high.
So walk us through that. If I go to my doctor and they write in my chart, patient has shoulder pain, started at work, that's not good enough.
Almost certainly not good enough. OWCP requires what they call a rationalized medical opinion.
Rationalized means?
It means the doctor needs to do more than just state a conclusion. They need to clearly state, yes, in their medical opinion, the work incident or the work duties caused, aggravated, accelerated, or precipitated the condition.
Oh.
And then this is the key: they need to explain why. They need to provide medical reasoning, linking the specific work factors to the medical diagnosis based on the exam findings, history, test results.
So a detailed explanation of the how.
Precisely. How did lifting that box cause the herniated disc? How did the repetitive typing lead to carpal tunnel? A simple note saying, injury occurred at work, just won't cut it. It's considered speculative or conclusory.
Okay, so getting that detailed, reasoned medical report is paramount. What other documentation mistakes sink claims?
Oh, several common ones. Filing the wrong initial form, that CA1 versus CA2 mistake we started with, that can lead to denials right away.
Inconsistency.
Huge factor. If the story changes the date you told your supervisor is different from the date on the form, which is different from what you told the doctor, that destroys credibility. Keep your facts straight and consistent across all reporting.
What about pre-existing conditions? Do you need to mention them?
You absolutely do, and your doctor needs to address them directly. If you have arthritis in your knee and then you twist it at work, the doctor needs to explain how the work incident specifically aggravated or worsened that underlying arthritis. If you ignore the pre-existing condition, OWCP might just assume all your current problems are due to that old issue and deny the claim related to the work injury.
It really sounds like the doctor needs to understand these specific OWCP requirements, the kind of language they need to use.
That's often the biggest hurdle. Your average family doctor might be great medically, but they likely don't know the specific legalistic phrasing OWCP looks for regarding causation.
Which is why specialized help can be useful.
Yes, that's where clinics or consultants who specialize in federal workers' comp claims can make a real difference. They understand the documentation OWCP requires, they know how to work with doctors to get that crucial rationalized medical opinion, and they can help navigate the forms and the appeals process. Being proactive and getting the documentation right from the start is key.
So, to wrap this all up, if we had to boil down success in the OWCP system to just two things, what would they be?
I'd say number one is timely action. Meeting those deadlines 30 days for the CA1 for COP, 3 years overall, and the appeal deadlines is non-negotiable.
And number two,
Thorough, detailed, and rationalized documentation, especially that medical report explaining causation. The burden of proof is firmly on you, the injured worker.
the system offers amazing benefits if you qualify 100% medical tax-free wage loss, but you have to prove your case meticulously.
Absolutely. Know the rules, know the deadlines, 30 days for a hearing request, 1 year for reconsideration with new evidence, 180 days for an ECAB legal review, and understand that your doctor's report needs that strong, well-explained link between your work and your condition. That's your shield against denial.
Be proactive, be detailed, and make sure you have that crucial medical evidence. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope this gives you a much clearer map to navigate federal workers' compensation.